Good morning, year 9s. Okay, so today we are starting a new topic. It's called proportion and ratios, and it's chapter 8. I don't want you to write down all these examples, but I really want you to write this start bit. Okay, so your little heading is exercise 8.2, direct proportion. And there are three main things that make a function directly proportionate. So if you could write these, a direct proportion is when there are two variables, remembering variables are like x, y, a, b, c, so unknowns. And these three things have to happen. When one of them goes up, the other goes up too, which also means if one goes down, the other goes down. The second thing is the line goes through the origin, so when x equals 0, y is equal to 0. And the third thing is it must be a straight line. So those things are hopefully pretty obvious. And if they're not, that's fine, because we're going to have a look at them right now. So please press pause and write that out. Probably the only thing I'm going to make you write, so please have it in your notes. All right, let's have a look at what this means in real terms. So an example might be money earned, an amount of ice cream sold. So you're the man who's selling the ice creams. And one of the variables is how much money is he going to make today? And the other variable is how many ice creams he sold. So we might have something like money earned would be X, and the second one would be number of ice creams sold. Okay. So we want to have a look. Are the above two things happening? It should say three. We need three things happening. All right. So the first one was when one goes up, the other goes up. So if we sell more ice creams, do we make more money? Hopefully you're all saying yes. Okay. Selling more ice creams, so Y going up, will mean that we're getting more ice creams. Sorry, we're earning more money. Actually, let's not put X and Y. I don't want you to think about that in terms of the intercepts yet. Let's just call it A and B. The second thing is the line goes through the origin. So when one of them equals 0, does the other equal 0? So if we've sold 0 ice creams, do we make 0 money? Yes, we do. So that's the second thing that has been addressed. And the third thing is must be a straight line. At this point in time, we're not too sure about that, but once you see the graphs, you'll see how easy that becomes. So if it is yes, which it is in this case, these two things are satisfied, it is a direct proportion. We can say a direct proportion equation or direct proportion event, perhaps, something like that. All right, so now we're going to have a look at these next few. This is like what you have to do in your questions. Really pretty straightforward. Does direct proportion exist for the following? The mark you get on a maths test and how many hours you spend studying for that test. So if you spend hardly any hours studying, remember this is just likelihood. So some people can study not at all and still do well, but mainly, we're talking about mainly. So if we study very little, we would expect a low mark. If we study more than that, so we study more, then we would expect our mark to go up. So does direct proportion exist in this? Yes, it would. All right, next one, the number of blocks stacked on top of each other and how high the stack is. All right, so if you put 2 stacks, the block might be, 2 blocks, the stack might be 10 centimetres. If you put more than 2, so you're going to put 4, then the stack is 20 centimetres. So what's happening every time? As the number of blocks increases in your stack, then the higher the stack is. So that's going to be direct proportion. As one goes up, the other goes up. And the other thing, if there's no blocks, there's no stack. So that would go through the origin. And the last one, a person's weight and how old they are. Now, sometimes we could say people get bigger as they get older, but sometimes people lose weight as they get older. They become tiny, all right? So as a person's, say if they go up in age, it's not definite that the person's weight will increase. Some people lose weight over time. So we can't say as they get older, most people's weight goes up. We cannot say that, all right? So there's no direct proportion for that one. Let me turn my page. All right, let's have a look now if we get it in the form of a table. So can we see from a table if direct proportion exists? Well, of course we can, because you're going to learn about it. How can we work this out? So if you have a look at the numbers, in this case we don't know what T and Y is and we don't care. All right, we're just looking at the numbers to see. How can we work this out? Firstly, do they both increase? All right, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's going up. 0, 1, 3, 7, 15. Yes, that's going up. So they do both increase. That's our first one that we're looking at. Do they go through the origin? So when one is 0, is the other 0? Yes, it is. It's shown there. So we're going to give that a tick too. Do they increase by the same amount? So this is the tiniest little bit of maths that you need to do. So what we're going to say is we're going to have a look at T. Don't worry about the zeros because they're pretty tricky. We're going to say, first of all, as we go from 1 to 2, okay, so 1 is doubled, and that will equal 2. So my question is, look at, and this is for T. So for T, 1 is doubled to get to 2. So now we're going to look underneath at Y. Do we double Y to get that next Y? No. All right, that's 3 times. So for T, 1 is doubled to get 2. But for Y, 1 is tripled or multiplied by 3 to get 3. So the same thing has not occurred. The first one we have to double, the second one we have to triple. So they don't increase by the same amount. So for this question, there is no direct proportion. Even though 2 of the things are satisfied, proportion, can't spell, A and B are satisfied, C is not, so we can't keep going. All right, let's have a look at another one. Exactly the same thing. So we're going to check this one. We have both increasing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. Yep, they're both going up, so that's okay. Do they both go through the origin? Now for this one, you want to draw a very quick sketch, or you can have a look at your pattern. So in this case, there's no 0, 0 there, so it's not given to us. Okay, so probably the easiest way is to draw yourself a quick sketch, although this would definitely have to be ruled up properly. So when I say quick, yeah, it's quick, but if it's not done accurately, then it won't work. And we can plot 1, 5, 2, 10, 3, 15, and 4, 20. And if you continue that line along, you would see that it's going to go through 0, 0. Okay, in a minute we can look at another way of checking that. Does it increase by the same amount? All right, so we're going to look here. Exactly what we did before. To get from 1 to 2, we times by 2. And now we want to check underneath if we can multiply by the same thing. So to get from there to there, we had to multiply by 2. How do we get from here to here? Oh, look, we do multiply by 2. So because the same thing is happening, then we would expect that it will be the case. But let's check another one in the same thing. So I don't want to go 2 to 3 because that's multiplying by 1.5, and that's just annoying. So how do we get from 2 to 4? So to get from 2 to 4, we multiply by 2. and we wouldn't look at the same ones in the other values. To get from 10 to 20, did we do the same thing? Yes, we did. We multiplied by 2. So in this case, all 3 criteria are satisfied, so it is direct proportion. Proportion, give it a tick. So you will just have to say yes or no. And the last thing is, do you get it from a graph? You're going to get a graph. Let's have a look at the 3 things. You'd know them by death by now. Okay, as one's increasing, does the other increase? So this goes up. Is this going up? Yep, so if you draw a little line there, if that is increasing, which it is, to here, so that's gone up to there, is this one going up? Yes, it is. Okay, they're both getting bigger. You could just imagine this might be 2, this might be 10. Is it going up for the next point? Yep, this might be 5, this might be 9. Is it going up? Yes, it is. All right, so they're both increasing. Does it go through the origin? That's easy when you've got a graph. Yes, it does. Is it a straight line? No, that's not a straight line. So your all criteria is not satisfied. So this is not direct proportion. And that is it. That is very straightforward. So today you've got a very little amount to do in your exercise. I've got question 1. I've said please write each one out. So don't send me a question with A, B, C or yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Just write a sentence. It's very simple. Just write the sentence and then decide. And question 2, 4 and 5. These are going to be really quick for you. And the next thing that you're going to do is going to be an education perfect lesson on an intro for this stuff. All right. Thank you very much.